So I started looking for something like the on-pin Verifeye system after sitting in another pace of play meeting that was called at our club, and the same conversation went around with the same people discussing the same problems with the same nil solutions.
A slow round at Cronulla could have been pretty painful before the system.
We had a situation in the golf club where our ladies on the Wednesday comp, 4-ball, were taking 5 hours, and on the Thursdays, 4-ball comp for the men was 4 hours 50 minutes.
It's not enjoyable. When you're waiting on every shot, there's no fun in that.
It was disgraceful.
The first moment that I saw the on-pin Verifeye system, I think this is the silver bullet. I think this is the silver bullet to pace of play. One of the problems that we had immediately was people said, we've already got a timing system through my club.
Well, my score tells you what time you start and it tells you what time you finish.
Yes, it was an indicator, but it wasn't specific. It also wasn't telling us what was happening during the round.
We tried a lot of things over the years. We tried a lot of verbal reminders.
Having a marshal, we found that the marshal was great. He was having a great old time, but it wasn't improving our pace of play, and it was costing us money to pay him by the hour.
We tried a Bundy clock, which was ineffective.
We also considered having our Golf Pro as the marshal, and we saw that as maybe being detrimental to the pro shop and people not wanting to utilise the pro shop because they were being roused on by a marshal from the pro shop.
When it first got installed, like anything new, and let's be honest, most golf clubs have an older demographic, there is a fear of new and probably a fear of tech in some pockets. And people were like, what's this spyware system? What's this tracking system? Are you following us home? Are you recording my bank details?
A large number of the older members thought that they were being monitored, and they didn't like the fact that they were being monitored. A large number of the lady members felt that they were also being rushed.
I think the way we spelt it out from the beginning was very important. Sending out a letter to the entire membership just to say that we're putting these tags on your bags, we will be monitoring times, and there will be consequences for people that aren't keeping up with the groups in front. I think that really helped.
100% of those people realised that we weren't out to ruin their day at golf. We're out there to make sure that the 230, 250 people that we have on this golf course every day, we're getting a better golf experience.
The way we measure pace of play now is probably slightly different than we would have ever tried to do it before we installed Verifeye. With this system, it's about keeping up with the group in front.
The first week that those boxes were installed, we saw a notable improvement in pace of play because people thought they were being monitored, and it wasn't even turned on yet.
It was pretty straightforward because it was sort of clear that you needed to pick up your tag if you wanted to keep playing golf, put your tag on your bag and play with it and keep moving.
And we can now see if you've fallen more behind that marker than the group in front, you're probably the problem.
The naysayers were the best because everything was a reason that it's not them, it's someone else.
When one group starts to fall behind, like a train carriage that can't pass it, everyone else is affected.
And how we really solved that problem was we invited the naysayers to come in and talk to us, and after they sat and talked to us for a little while, they started to realise that maybe they were part of the problem.
So we added a couple of extra features as well pretty quickly because we realised that it's all good and well to be monitoring and be able to feed back to people, but awareness in real time was the biggest indicator of improvement of play.
I don't think there's any doubt in the world that we've got to a stage now where it's accepted. It's not going away. We're committed to this.
So we wanted people to be able to see it. So we installed the live map in the clubhouse. So every time people walk in, they see it, in the back of their mind it's there.
So having all the data that shows every checkpoint for every player out there, you can't argue with it. It's so clear.
But that wasn't enough. People wanted to see, if we knew that they were slow, that we could tell them they were slow during it. So OnPin, to their credit, have also developed these phenomenal live pace monitoring screens. So when you walk past it, it tells you if you are fast, on speed, or slow. And that gives another reference point out on course. People know they're being monitored.
We've been able to look at the data and see that perhaps you can increase tee times for the first hour of play or reduce them for the first hour and then increase them for the next hour.
Now that people knew that you had a tag, we knew who was fast, we knew who was slow, you hear stories that People were a bit more hesitant about booking with a person, or they wanted to make sure that their group was moving quickly, or they were just pulling their team members along, which was awesome. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you'd hope, and that we were told before we installed it has happened in other courses, but it's exactly what happened here.
But we also noticed and identified a number of members, older members in particular, that were starting to struggle on the golf course. Once we became aware of that, we could position them in the field where now they're not at the front of the field, so they're not slowing up everyone else, and we position them so that they're having a great round of golf and not affecting the rest of the membership. Every board member has to be on site. He has to support the system, and I've found that every one of our board members has been fantastic in that way.
Implementing this system is something that the club needs to be excited about doing. In the first month or two, there's a lot of flagging of groups who are deemed slow because it's a whole new way of looking at it. It drops off really quickly.
There's no point in having the system if there are no consequences. You have to feel like, okay, I've got to keep moving or I'll be in trouble. We don't want to have to enforce anything, and we haven't had to really enforce too much at all. A letter has been the strictest it's got. But if you didn't have that threat there, the system would be pointless.
That's one of the things that I would say to clubs who are installing it is, don't be deterred if at first you're like, this looks like a lot, or geez, there's a lot of admin. The admin is so worth it, and it's so brief. That's what we noticed.
We had one board member that basically said that he was going to throw it out, and he's no longer a board member. So that probably answers that question. It's improved my enjoyment of golf course. You know, as a director and as a committee man, I think they're enjoying the fact that they're getting around the golf course in 4 hours, and they've got more time in the clubhouse that they can come and talk to us about it.
It is course-wide, it is 24/7, it is impersonal marshalling that was not possible before we had this system.
I would definitely recommend it to any club that's got particularly large fields. If they want to improve their pace of play and improve the enjoyment of golf for everybody, I would highly recommend it. It's a pretty easy system to implement. It solves the problem almost as soon as you put the boxes out.
100% I recommend this system. It is, I believe, the silver bullet to pace of play.